Hello, and welcome to Scott's Odyssey. Recently, I've been getting requests for ghost stories. One thing, like myself, has to do on just about every one of these adventures, especially because I'm typically alone, is to rule out things that go bump in the night and use logic to resolve any fears that creep up. I mean, not everyone can just go into a random hole in the ground or explore a place that's been untouched by others for long periods of time, let alone wander miles off into a deep wooded area without that kind of resolve. In this video, we will do an investigation of a haunt. Welcome to the location of Horseshoe Curve. Well, more specifically, the haunted tunnel. See you in a minute. Welcome back. If you've watched my videos before, thank you for your patronage, and if you're new to Scott's Odyssey, welcome aboard. It is no secret that I'm not a believer in ghosts, but it's also no secret that when I visit the sites of the dead or where mysterious things transpired, that sometimes there's eerie happenings, like the wind blowing when speaking in a specific way about the deceased, or shadows where there should not be anything, and things moving or blowing around where there's a stillness in the air, similar to what viewers pointed out in the Lost Children of the Alleghenies video, and even a murder of crows going full-on squawk when I'm revealing the truth about a location's horrific crimes, as we saw in the Duffy's Cut video. Well, Pennsylvania, especially this part of central Pennsylvania, is renowned for its ghost stories and numerous locations for haunts and paranormal activity. And it makes sense. There were a lot of bad happenings and horrific accidents that have taken place throughout this state's history. Everything from wars and murders to disease and work accidents. Well, the site of Horseshoe Curve was by no means immune to any of these incidents, and I'm sure there are many more that never made it into the history book. Aside from the story of the lady in white from the White Lady of Wapsie video, which you can watch by clicking up here, there's a story of 22-year-old Edward Burns, a former employee of the Glen White Company located just up the road, who on Wednesday, April 27th of 1910 at about 5:20 a.m. was on his way to quit his job as a worker for the Carruthers Construction Company at Lake Altoona. While walking along the tracks to his destination, Edward Burns was run down by the Glen White engine and killed. Local lore has it that at 5:20, you may still see Edward walking along the Glen White Road, now called Veterans Memorial Highway, still on his way to quit his job with the Carruthers Company. Another tells of a witch's cabin just above the Horseshoe Curve that is only found every so many years by wandering hunters, who never seem to be able to find it again. This particular haunt is specific to the tunnel along the Glen White Road that goes under the Horseshoe Curve. There is absolutely nothing historical to link it to, but it is a very pervasive story that just about everyone in these parts has at least heard about, if not personally experienced. Now, whether or not something happened here and only exists in the spoken form of historical handing down through myth and legend, one of the most powerful ways to talk about who we once were, or if it's indeed just a story made to scare people, there is a fervent group of people that truly believe that what happens here now is very real. Just as the story of the White Lady of Wapsie tells, here too a beautiful young Irish woman in white is said to exist. Again, just like the story of the White Lady of Wapsi, she roams this tunnel due to either the love of her life leaving her behind, or she died in an accident at this location. Now, the actions that must occur seem to be very specific in each of their variations, but there's the problem. There's so many variations. One method dictates that you must arrive between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. on a foggy, rainy, or snowy night. Another says we need to be here just a few minutes before midnight. Some say we need to be here on a full moonlit night. Then there's the actions that must be performed to have the encounter actually happen in these conditions. The most prevalent is that you are to drive through the tunnel going up Glen White Road, and on the other side you need to turn around and slowly drive back into the tunnel. Once you're in the middle of the tunnel, you turn off your lights and honk your horn 3 times and then turn off your engine. You then stay in your spot as long as you can safely and listen for the young woman's voice. If nothing is heard, start your engine and drive out of the tunnel. The results will be you either heard the woman's voice, you saw her while driving out, or there may be handprints on your vehicle, or the feeling of something hitting your car. Okay, I just got back into the vehicle, all right? I've got multiple forms of recording devices going. I've got this one, the actual camera's recording, this camera here. There's another device right next to the camera that's recording audio that is directly hooked up to my geeky parabolic recording device, and we're going to turn that on so you can see that the red light came on. Alrighty, hopefully you can see that. I don't know if the camera sees that, but we got that on. I'll do a little bit of work getting it attenuated to sound here, and I'll also put the gain on high, and I'll give it a little quick degauss, and we'll begin going through the tunnel. All right, the truck's currently running, and we're getting ready to do our first pass through the tunnel. I figure I'll do 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4. We'll see how it goes. I do need to be careful because there is two-way traffic for this little road. So stopping in the middle of a tunnel at currently 12:30, there's not a lot of traffic, but just in case, I do need to be safe. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to record the video using the truck's dash cam as well as the cell phone, and we'll see what happens. Okay, we're coming up on the red light. We're getting ready to do our first drive through to do a turnaround. And once we're done the turnaround, then we will do our stop. So far, so good. Now we're getting ready to go in for the stop. At that time, I'll put this camera on the outside of the vehicle and hold the parabolic with my other hand. right, putting the camera outside the window. And we are shut down. Bringing the camera back in. And we'll try once more from the other direction. Let me guys know down in those comments if you saw anything. I'll be going through this video a couple of times. I'm going to keep letting this run so that there's no interruption in case something happens. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. Alrighty. It's a longer than normal light. I don't think there's any cars coming. Fortunately, there's still nobody behind us. They got some kind of machinery running over here on the side of the road. I don't know what it's doing, but it's awfully loud. Hopefully that doesn't interrupt anything in the recordings. All right, here we go. Put this outside. Off with the lights. Engines off. All right, and there we have it. Now time to go back to the HQ and do some editing, and I'll do a lot of volume enhancement for everybody. Okay, we're coming up on the red light. We're getting ready to do our first drive through to do a turnaround. And once we're done the turnaround, then we will do our stop. So far, so good. Now we're getting ready to go in for the stop. At that time, I'll put this camera on the outside of the vehicle and hold the parabolic with my other hand. Alright, put the camera outside the window. And we are shut down. Camera back in. And we'll try once more from the other direction. Let me guys know down in those comments if you saw anything. I'll be going through this video a couple of times. I'm going to keep letting this run so that there's no interruption in case something happens. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. Alrighty. It's a longer than normal light. I don't think there's any cars coming. Fortunately, there's still nobody behind us. They got some kind of machinery running over here on the side of the road. I don't know what it's doing, but it's awfully loud. Hopefully that doesn't interrupt anything in the recordings. Alright, here we go. Put this outside. Off with the lights. Engine's off. I decided, just in case, let me keep the camera going. We'll keep it outside the window while we're going through. Let's see if there's anything going on here. Oh, my actual vehicle camera is not turning on. That's interesting. Let's check that out. And we'll drive through real slow. Those lights appear to change whether you're in the tunnel or not. They don't really seem to care a whole lot. Now to figure out why this camera didn't turn back on. Well, after a couple tries and a reset, it appears to have turned back on. Why it turned off in the first place, well, I'll leave that up to you. The haunting of the Horseshoe Curve tunnel is a fabulously frightful ghost tale that is more likely just an urban legend and may very well have no anchor into the history of this area. That does not mean that stories such as these are not important. Learning about who we once were is just as important as who we are now, and telling tales that were handed down generation after generation is extremely important. Although I do not believe in the White Lady of this tunnel, it does not mean that something somewhere in this area did not take place that caused tens of thousands of people over time to know the same story that goes back so many generations. What really happened here to spawn the story, well, we'll probably never know. But what remains is that you cannot deny the fact that the story is very old and most everyone in this area and city knows the tale. For something like that to take place, something must have happened here. Let me know in the comments below if you know of stories and locations such as this one, and if you would like to hear more of our unfounded history that only comes from the telling of a tale or two. I hope you enjoyed this story, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.